Jump to it.
Championship mode, man. Championship mode, man. Championship mode. Talk, Mike! I done been there before. That's how I usually go. Teach, Mike. Teach, Mike.
Inky Johnson, Oak, going for the championship, that ain't coming close. This might require taking notes, homie, listen close. Serendipity when you know you the one who chose. We going past the end zone, crushing every goal. I feel it in my enzymes, in my chromosomes. If you ain't come outside to go hard, then go back home. I'm in my zone, if it ain't great, it's better left alone. This for the world, put what we speaking on speakerphone. Yeah, Wills, let them know what we be on. Serendipity, man, tune in.
What's going on, good people? Inky Johnson here, man. Welcome to Serendipity. Here with my guy, Wazo Oka for News. Talk to him.
Greetings, fam. Thank you again for just checking in on us. We about to chop it up about a few things just to see if we can, again, push the culture along, get better, get stronger, get faster, get closer to God.
That's it. That's it. Man, you know how we start, man. We start with a quote card from D. Sugar Boo. And this one reads, "If you are humble, nothing will touch you, neither praise nor disgrace, because you know what you are." Mother Teresa. I find it interesting. Oh, I just realized this. It says you know what you are. Usually a person will say you know who you are.
Yeah.
It says you know what you are. Huh.
The difference between what you are and who you are. Who you are is a combination of the folks you came from, your lineage, and the folks who are going to come after you, right? That's family, interaction, your circle. That's who you are. What you are is the vessel that God sent you here to be.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Picking that up.
And so are you fulfilling the what you are portion of your contract? Right? The who you are portion of the contract, you had nothing to do with writing. I mean, when I say contract, your contract with God.
Right.
Right? But the what you are is the contract, the portion of the contract that you're writing, that you agreed to. God, this is okay. I know you sent me here to teach. You sent me here to coach. You sent me here to be impactful or be an influence or be an inspiration. Right?
Yes, sir.
That's what I am.
Gotcha.
That's not who I am. Who I am is Elijah and Linda's son. Thomas Lucy, Animal Lewis' grandson.
Yeah.
Hasty Zayna B. Couch, great-grandson. That's who I am. So I'm a combination of them and all the other ancestors that came before me, right?
Yes, sir.
So it's important to understand the duality between who you are and what you are.
I like that, Oak. I'm picking that up. I'm gonna go a different direction with it. It said, with humility, neither praise nor disgrace can touch you. Right? And I think, man, humility is such an underrated but powerful thing. Like, man, humility is so important because it can bleed over into several aspects of life. But I bring it home with this. I believe when you have humility, you always believe there's a better way to do what you're doing. No matter how much success you've had, no matter how much greatness you've had, like when you have a level of humility about what you're involved in, what you're connected to, what you're doing, you always show up with the mindset and the perspective that I can do what I'm doing better and I can be better. I think that's what humility brings. That's why neither praise nor disgrace can touch you, because you're always in growing mode, right? You're trying to elevate, you're trying to evolve, and you're trying to grow because you possess a certain level of humility. Now, I want to go opposite of humility.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say opposite.
Hold on.
I wouldn't say opposite.
Let me offer in terms of humility real quick, right?
Yeah.
The school that I'm at now,
Yes,
right?
sir.
One of the pillars, one of the principles is humility.
Nice.
The rites of passage in Ndugu and Nzinga, one of the 5 foundational principles is humility. One's ability to seek and receive correction without malice or attitude.
Yes, sir.
Right? And then we just now talking about humility, the trilogy of humility. So when we talking about, like in the first episode of being able to hear God's echo.
Yeah.
So for me right now, God's echo is humility.
Yeah.
Because it's full circle right now for me.
Gotcha.
So, and just how important it is, how important humility is in terms of building relationships. Like
Sure.
humility shows itself in a lot of different ways, right?
Right.
But one of the ways in building strong connections and building strong relationships is having humility.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, we were talking about how, okay, we hadn't done a show, whatever. Folks were like, well then, you just go on and, you do a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not doing nothing without Ink.
Yeah.
Meaning because it's not about me and it's not about the fanfare of the pod.
Yeah.
It's about the connection and the relationship that we have.
Definitely.
Right? So
Definitely.
I just think humility will always keep you grounded. It will always land you right at the feet of God.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Humility will always land you right at the feet of God.
Yes, sir.
So you can hear and move and get your next set of directions.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
So yeah, that's why it's important.
And,
and when you go to the opposite,
nah.
you finna get away from the feet of God.
Exactly. But I was going to touch on this though. It's funny you say that about the connection, because Cats was like, "Hey, Ink, man, like I got an opportunity for you," and I'm like, "Y'all don't understand. Like, if you ask my wife, like, what type of person Ink is." So I sent her some on Instagram. Somebody posted, right? I don't know if you be doing this, but I be sending stuff to my wife on IG because she be sending me stuff. Right?
Yeah, we
like them little.
We older y'all. We do it on Facebook.
Hey, right.
Facebook.
Them quotes and videos about parenthood and all this. She be sending me stuff, right? So I sent her something that said, "People that can be alone, right, are strong people." That was the quote somebody posted. People that can be alone are strong people. So I spent a lot of time in solitude. It first happened when I got injured. Mm-hmm. Just spending time with my thoughts, writing, journaling. So I sent her that because she always be talking about, you need to connect more, you need to be with more people, you need to get out more, right? And so I sent her this, like, look at this quote. It say, people that can be alone in solitude are very strong people. She gonna send me back, well, you very strong. But I was like, the connection though, that me and you got, I'm like, man, I don't want to be around people like that. Like, I love what I do.
Yeah.
Like, that feeds me. Mm-hmm. But just being around cats talking, like, I got to be around cats that I really like. You know what I'm saying? No, man, give me some, man, that I get down with. Give me some, man. Look. Can't catch it. But I got to be around people that I love being around. To chop it up. I can't, man, like, I'm like, I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? But like, I'd rather be at home sitting with my children.
You've always been a extroverted invert.
Yeah. Explain.
You know
Explain. So they can know what you're talking about.
Like, you can get in front of 50,000 people and give it to the people.
No question.
Right? You got on the court Westbrook before Westbrook was Westbrook.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got on the field in front of 100,000 Neyland Stadium.
Right.
But then when it comes to you, you just going, even like when y'all in like 8th grade and stuff, everybody be piling up, getting in the Explorer, and you'll be over there. So I always had to come get with you by yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You weren't really kicking it with everybody else. Not that you didn't like them or that type of thing. It's just you're introverted like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Yet your talent, your skill, your gift has brought you to the forefront to be out there. So that's why I say you're an extroverted invert.
No question.
Yeah.
And that's how I know what I do is God's work. Because I tell people all the time, if God would have just spoke to me clearly, like how me and you speaking right now and said to me, hey, Inky, I got a plan for you to speak. I'd have said, God, do you got something else? Like, I don't want to be in front of people like that, God. That's what I would have said.
Yeah, you got the wrong person.
Yeah,
the wrong Inky.
Nah, that ain't me. But the way it happened lets me know that as nobody but God. And I'm so grateful for it, and I can never take it for granted because of how it's transpired, which leads me to my next point, man. Ego. What comes to mind when you hear the word ego?
I think there's, at the very least, 3 types of egos.
Talk about it.
Right? You got the big ego.
Yeah.
You got people who have big egos, right? And that's like they always just want to be out there,
I'm finna write
want to
it.
be seen,
Write it.
right? You got your big ego.
Big ego.
Then you have your fragile egos.
Mm.
Those are if you just say something, or they take everything as a front of being like you're trying to offend them.
Gotcha.
Right? And then you have the locating ego.
Locating ego.
And that's where you are very reflective. It becomes inside, right? And you can move between the 3. Like when I play, I look at it like this. When I played basketball, I had a big ego. Mm-hmm. Everybody can see you. I wear the long socks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I would do stuff to be seen.
Right.
And it fueled my confidence to go play.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When I played football, I had that locating ego spirit, because that was inside of me.
Yeah.
If no one was there and I got no fanfare for it, playing football fed me. Playing basketball fed others.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? I grew up in a town, in a county where basketball was the whole thing, was the king and queen and everything, right? And football was just coming along. But as a youngster, playing football was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. It felt good. The strategy of it, it was like football is like chess. Basketball is like checkers to me.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? To me, I'm not saying basketball is not intricate. I'm saying to me, how it made me feel and the work I put into it. And so you can move between those 3 different egos. But when you get to the point where you're able to locate your ego, that's going to open your whole world up.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Agreed.
A man and woman who can locate their ego, their level of maturity increases exponentially.
Yeah.
Right? If you only exist in your big ego, then you stay a child. Because think about it. Like when you're 8, 9, 10, 11, when you're trying to figure out the world, you're looking at the world through your own lenses. When you don't get your way, how do you react? How do children react? Right? That's just a manifestation of their big egos.
Yeah.
But when you get to a place where you can locate your ego, regardless of what happens, regardless of situation, regardless of circumstance, right? You're able to assess the situation, assess the circumstance, and move accordingly.
Absolutely.
That's essentially what being able to locate your ego means.
Absolutely.
And no, go ahead. I'm gonna keep
going. No. I was going to say it's a book by a cat by the name of Ryan Holiday called "Ego is the Enemy," and it talks about how ego is subjective in terms of when you're facing failure, things of that nature. And one of the things that I used to always think in terms of when it came to ego, the world labels ego with an undercurrent that it's negative.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
That's how the world labels it, the undercurrent that it's a negative thing. But I always think with children, right? Now, when you get to adults, some adults, are at the level to where they can discern, like you just broke down the 3 levels of ego. You just broke down locating your ego. But when I think about children sometimes, I always think in terms of teaching methods to where I don't want them to forget their greatness, right? In the world. And so sometimes it's like when they tell you, man, sometimes you got to remind them, you got to let them know. Sometimes you got to pop it. Not in a rude way, because the world would diminish your greatness. The world would do everything in its power to show or tell you that you're not great, right? And so it's not walking around with that big ego, but sometimes with young people, you got to remember your greatness. You got to remember what you've been sent here to do. You got to remember that, right? Because if not, you'll walk in an environment and be excited about something, and they'll smush you. They'll put their finger on you. They'll tell you every reason why it won't work. They'll tell you every reason why you can't do it. They'll tell you every reason why you're not qualified to do it. And sometimes that ego got to flare up. Not this ego, but the ego of, nah, man, I ain't tripping. Like, I got it, right? Because the undercurrent that the world puts on it is always negative. Even me, Oak, I battle with it. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I battle with that. Because, like, I like to think of myself, not so much of humble, but I'm a grounded dude. Like, I feel like my mother raised me the right way. My father instilled the right things in me. My grandmother, right? To where, you know, a cat can easily try to take advantage of certain things that I do. I remember I was with a dude on the road one day that was helping me, and we was at an event, and the event was done, but some people was doing some things, and the guy that was with me felt as if they were taking advantage of me. He's like, Ink, I'm finna cut it off, man. We gotta go. His intentions were correct. Man, we gotta go. We gotta get back to your family. Like, they doing a little too much right now. I was like, nah, bro, it's all good. He's like, nah, man, nah, we did what we came here to do. Right? And he was great, phenomenal, talented, skillful. And I watched that thought process run him away from something that I felt like and he felt like he was called to do. And that was serving. Because he could never get past the, man, nah, they doing too much now. I did what I came to do. Nah, they trying to take advantage of me. And I was like, nah, bro, that's cool. Like, we here to serve. We gonna do what we do. And I'm gonna get home to my family. I ain't gonna let them take advantage of me. I know how to navigate it and do it. But I ain't gonna flare up. I ain't gonna turn into Macho Man. I ain't gonna go Ric Flair on him.
Yeah.
Right?
Woo!
Right? I ain't gonna go willing and dealing, Cadillac riding, jet flying. I ain't gonna go Rick on him. But I know how to navigate because I know how to locate my ego. You understand? But I always think about with young people, like, hey man, don't let the world diminish your greatness. Sometimes that ego might got to flare up so you can remind some cats, nah, I really do this.
And I think, you know, when we talk about the power of language, especially with young people, right? For them to understand that when they navigate through the world, when they speak for themselves.
Yes, sir.
When they stand up for themselves.
Yes, sir.
That is not ego. Right?
Yeah.
But if we can teach people, if we can teach young folks that most of the things that we've been taught, the words that have been put to it, are not necessarily the words they're not the real words. What I mean by that is, for a young person to stand up and vouch for themselves, advocate for themselves, is not their ego. It's your ego when you're expecting or you want something from it in terms of you want more from it than the work you put into it. That's where your ego comes in, right? You go work hard, you go study at night, and you come back to school and pass this test, you better stand up on the table. Yes.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But that's not, what I'm saying though is, that's not your ego.
Right.
That's you acknowledging and honoring yourself in the work that you've done.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We're surrounded right here in this room by people who do great work.
Right.
And if and when they get recognized for the great work that they do, let's celebrate it.
Definitely.
Right? Let them celebrate it. Let them walk into their own greatness. Because if you get celebration, if you get accolades on the backside of work, and you acknowledge that, that's not ego.
Right. But that's not how the world works.
That's right.
That we reside in.
That's why you got to be.
They ain't gonna give it to them.
You got to be constantly changing the language.
Yeah. Because they ain't gonna give it. Think about it. Mayo, first black head coach in the Patriots organization. It just happened.
Yeah.
This dude is nice. Right? Everybody talked about how brilliant he was. Everybody, how great he was. Vrabel comes on the market. Vrabel is great. But the narrative changed about Mayo when Vrabel became available. Why? Why can't Vrabel be brilliant and Gerard Mayo, the young African-American, be brilliant? Why?
Privilege.
Both are brilliant.
Yep.
Right? They release a piece on Mayo. In the building, some people feel like he's hard to deal with. Like a week or two prior to him supposedly getting hired.
They're trying to cut brother off at the knees. Huh?
So did he not put in the work? Yes, been putting it in. I talked to him when he in the office, right? And so he felt like, oh no, I know why I got released. Cool, he addressed it. In leadership, sometimes you're gonna rub people the wrong way. Maybe I got a blind spot. Maybe I need to go back and evaluate. Maybe if I rub somebody the wrong way, cool, I'm gonna evaluate it. But I ain't gonna let y'all think I'm not qualified for it. I ain't gonna let y'all think I don't really do this. I'm ready for it. How you feel about it? You think you ready? I know I'm ready.
Yeah. And that's not ego. That's actually humility.
Yeah, absolutely. But you got it. Whatever it is, greatness, pop it.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like a DB who's not as good as Prime acting like Prime.
Nah.
That's ego.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
That's definitely ego.
Your ego
is the enemy, right there.
But it's when you're able to locate your ego, then you know what lane you're supposed to be in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's all I'm saying.
Agreed, man.
You know?
I agree with you. I'm picking it up.
In fact, humility is like, again, what your people have taught you, what you have taken, and the way in which you approach the world.
Yes, sir.
You approach it with either a humble spirit or with the spirit of you owe me something.
Mm.
See, ego is you owe me something.
Mm.
Humility is I've earned this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you think elite performers are born or made? People that are elite at what they do, you think they're born or made?
Made.
Elaborate.
Meaning an elite performer, again, is what you're giving out. You go put in the work. You go to practice, you do whatever the criteria is, you maximize it. You do it to the T.
Yeah.
Right? And you manifest that level of greatness.
Right.
LeBron James is elite.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got other people who are elite. Tom Brady is elite.
Yeah, definitely.
What's the born part is the way in which you make people feel when you're doing what you do. Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Serena Williams. That's the difference.
Right.
Like little girls, Coco Gauff watching her
Coco
come and win, the US Open this year, but she using Serena and how Serena made her feel.
Yes, sir.
About the sport of tennis.
Absolutely.
And I don't know, I'm just talking right now. You know what I'm saying? But I would surmise that that's the case. I know when I watched the one on Talk About, how it made me feel. Not just to play basketball, but to do any and everything in my life.
Definitely.
Trying to press to the degree in which he did it, right? Mm-hmm. So that's you got women basketball players saying the mama mentality. You got cats saying the mama mentality. It's the way in which you make you feel. That's something you can't create.
Yeah.
That's something that you're born with. But to be an elite performer, that's something that you can do in terms of your preparation, in terms of receiving the coaching, all of that.
Definitely.
So the difference to me is what you produce and then the way in which you make people feel and you doing what you produce. Definitely.
When it comes to elite performers being born or made, it's interesting because when I was young, man, my dad used to always say, Ink, this DNA. When he go against you, Ink, this DNA. Mm-hmm. He ain't got what you got. He wasn't born with what you got. I remember telling the dude, I'm competing against him, man, and forgive me, man, but I told the dude, I say, bro, when I came out of my mama and you came out of your mama, you was beat at birth, boy. Like this DNA, boy, right? And so I believe it's certain things that cats are born with, but in order to be elite, you really got to cultivate and you got to make that.
Yeah.
Right? Through what you learn, through the people you're connected to, and just figuring out what it takes, right? Like I was speaking yesterday and I said, man, like when I spoke to Chick-fil-A, right? And I'll never forget being there and I'm speaking to him and I'm trying to figure out like the recipe behind the recipe, right? I heard Tim, like they're their COO and president say, we're only as good as the last chicken sandwich that we sold. This Chick-fil-A, right? We're only as good as the last chicken sandwich we sold. Chick-fil-A saying this. And so I'm like, man, like they closed on Sunday. They do so much business. They closed on Sunday? Like they do that much business? Why are they closed on Sunday? I went to speak to them, I'm across the street from the headquarters. It's just warehouses. From the outside looking in, it's just where it looked like warehouses. We go inside of the warehouses, it's Chick-fil-A's in the warehouses. Like full-blown Chick-fil-A's in the warehouses, full-blown drive-thrus in the warehouses. And the man said, these are simulators. We put the people in here before we send them out into the field. So people come sometimes from across at headquarters, come over here to the warehouse, and we're training the staff. We're telling people, order whatever you want to order, right? Make it a tense situation, right? Get things wrong, mess things up, so we can train them before we send them out into the field. And when we see somebody in a Chick-fil-A drive-thru in the rain, and you like, man, they out here in the rain, and saying, my pleasure, no problem, right? Cultivating and making greatness. They got a whole system. We thought it was just the chicken sandwich, the fries, my pleasure, the culture, great. But they're making it. They practicing it through simulators every day. They got a full-blown warehouse. It's one of the greatest corporations, organizations in the world.
Yeah.
They off on Sunday, right? And they can be off because of what they do Monday through Saturday. And so I want it to be great like that, Oak, in terms of operating in that realm. I want to be off on Saturday. I want to be off on Sunday. I want to be at my son's in my world. I want to be at my son's baseball tournament on Sunday. I don't want to be on a plane somewhere speaking. I want to be that great. I want to be at my daughter's cheer competition on a Saturday. I want to be that great, right? So I need to understand, what does it take? It's not that people don't have what it takes. Sometimes it's that people don't realize, bro, it's going to take everything you got. But first and foremost, at the foundation of being elite, you got to know what is elite, right? Now, certain things you born with. It's certain cats, they're a junkyard dog, man. They born with that DNA, bro. They going to scrap you out. They going to fight you till it's blood every day of the week, and it ain't nothing you could do about it. But they got to understand what it takes in order to be elite. And so I'm with you. I think they born with some things DNA, but I think you got to cultivate that elite level.
Right. And elite is relative to the population pool.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm
Picking up,
saying?
yeah.
Right.
Break that down so they can pick up.
Greatness, I mean, elite is if we have a group of 16, 17, 18-year-old basketball players.
Yes, sir.
Then you're going to have the elite ones. You got the elite 8 or whatever, the name. So of that group, they the best.
Right.
So we say that's elite. Of these group of basketball players, of these group of writers, they're elite. Now, they may even be great.
Right.
But what is it to be excellent?
Yeah.
Because that young fella or that young lady who's in that 15, 16, 17-year-old basketball pool may not be considered elite because they can't run, jump, shoot, defend, and rebound.
Yeah.
Yet, if you can rebound, and that's your thing. You can't shoot, you can't hit to hit the side of a barn, whatever, right? But you can be excellent at rebounding.
Yes, sir.
Meaning excellent is something that you can work towards for yourself.
Yes, sir.
And again, we're talking about something that's coming from you that you give into the people, the thing that people are able to see.
Yes, sir.
Right? The things that you're born with is the thing why God sent you here and what people get from you doing what you do.
Yeah. Picking that up. I better pick that up.
Right?
Pick that
you
up.
got, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
Except be able to acknowledge it and cultivate it and push it and press it as far as it can go.
Yes, sir.
Because not eventually, what I'm saying is like when you were sitting in class, you sitting like that right now.
Yeah.
Looking at me like, are you crazy? Like, man, this cat right, man, we don't learn this math to keep going. Right. But once I start challenging you,
right,
you start sitting up straighter and straighter.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, he got something.
Yeah.
Right? But it inspired me to be a better teacher. When Jaquil or Allison or James or whatever, the way in which y'all challenged me to be a better teacher was y'all took on what I was giving you.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That is something special. That's something you didn't know you were even doing it.
Right.
That's what you're born with. Right? What you became, what you became in terms of a ball player, what you became in terms of a speaker, that's you. That's on you. That's your DNA. That's what comes out of you.
Yes, sir.
Right? But what's, I think the greater aspect of it is when you're performing and doing what you do, living your life, and it impacts and it changes other people's lives.
Yes, sir.
That's God sent. That's God's work.
Yes, sir.
Being elite is your work.
Yes, sir. I'm picking that up, Oak.
Yeah.
Oak.
Talk to me.
1989 Eastern Conference Finals, Chicago Bulls versus
Detroit Pistons.
Cleveland Cavaliers.
That's 80.
89. They won the game 101-100.
That wasn't no 89, man.
Yes, it was. I watched it. I watched
Eastern
it.
Conference Finals.
I watched it other night on Netflix. Sure as the sky blue.
That was 90.
Sure as the sky blue, man.
Hold on, you got me. We ain't gonna get the line because I'm finna take you through it now.
Sure as the sky blue. They won the series 3-2.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. That was first round.
Yep, I got it. I wrote it down. First round, Eastern Conference Final.
This ain't when he made the shot.
No.
Okay, I got you.
Not that.
Okay.
But he said something.
Okay.
After the game, they was interviewing him. And the guy was like, man, you did it. You told him to go home. MJ was, I told him. Everybody that doubted us, I told him to go home. It's like, how you feel? How you feel, man? Because everybody talk about Detroit, right? Bad Boys, how he had to get past Detroit. They would beat his body up. Had to go train, this, that, and the third, right? Which was natural. He got past him, did his thing. But he said something after that Cleveland game that I was like, that's it. He said, I'm grateful for this game because we finally got over the hump with our mentalities, moving from a losing mentality to a winner's mentality, right? And I think oftentimes, I want to speak to mentality real quick. I think mentality is so important, right? With approach, perception, like how we do things, the mentality. I always say to people, perspective drives performance. How we view what we do will always affect and impact how we do what we do. Yeah. And when MJ said, man, I think we finally got over the hump from a losing mentality to a winner's mentality after that Cleveland game, I'm like, man, this cat cold-blooded, right? Because he was dropping things at the time to where cats was just focused on the talent. Yeah. Cats was just focused on the fadeaway, the skill, which was extremely high. But when you start talking mentality, like that's next level, right? When you show up and you got a certain mentality about what you do, you're going to approach what you do totally different, right? How important is mentality in terms of our work, man? And our life, just in general.
Yeah. I look at mentality from the standpoint of, to me, one of the greatest examples of mentality was the bad boy Detroit Pistons, right? Because their mentality was that we can withstand anything that you throw at us.
The Jordan rules.
Right? Yeah, anything that comes before. So the mentality of life is not so much of, I got the mentality that I'm going to go win. I got the mentality that I'm not going to lose.
Yes, sir.
Because winning changes. Depending on situation, circumstance, where you are. People are always moving the goalposts. Yep. Especially for black people, the goalpost has always been moved. Especially for women, the goalpost has always been moved. Especially for anybody that, that has been subjugated, the goalpost has always been moved. So then the catch is, you don't worry about the goalpost being moved.
Yes, sir.
You worry about just continuing to always being able to go and get to the goalpost. So your mentality gotta be, I'm not gonna lose. See, if you focus on winning, and they say today winning is getting to this spot right here, and then tomorrow when you wake up, they move that to over here and you done got to this spot. Now, how do you feel? Like, oh, I've been duped. I'm mad. I'm tired. I'm frustrated. I want to quit.
Yeah.
But if I got the mentality that I'm not going to lose, okay, there it is over there. I'm going to go over here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So mentality is so important because it ensures if your mentality is if you got a tough mentality, if you got the mentality of I'm not going to lose,
yeah,
you'll always be able to succeed more so than if you got a mentality of I'm always going to win.
Mm-hmm. That's the will to not lose is more important than the will to win.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
You know the cold thing about life, Oak, and I tell teams this all the time. I tell my children this. When a winner and a loser first show up, they both got the exact same goal. Like when a winner and a loser show up, both of them want the victory.
Yep.
But somewhere along the process, when adversity, opposition, change, uncertainty is present, somebody focuses on the outcome and somebody focuses on the systems and the processes that drive the outcome, right? They both want the victory, but somebody looks at, hey man, this is going to drive victory. Let's stay true. Let's stay calm. Let's stay together. Let's stay positive. Keep our perspective in order, and we'll get to where we're trying to go.
Yep.
Somebody else in the midst of the adversity, opposition, change, challenge, man, it's his fault. Man, it's her fault. Man, if we would have did this, we'll be here. And it takes your focus off the goal, out of tight. It takes your focus off of what's important and what you're trying to accomplish, right? And so stay locked in and stay focused, man.
Yep.
And what the goal is.
I tell, especially when I'm coaching, and even coaching coaches, the process is the greatest part of it.
Yes, sir.
Coach Simp, shout out, print up.
Robert Print Up.
Robert
Print Up. Let me say this real quick. I tell people, boy, no matter where black people at, black people gonna shout some people out. They give you on the award show. Hey, shout out to Stanley.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because you know why? When you go back to them and you talking about something y'all going through together and you ain't mention their name.
Yeah, they gonna remind you.
Yeah, you have to see them. Because then every time, they feel like you done got too big for your britches.
Hollywood.
But anyway, we play on Saturdays, right?
Yes, sir.
Sunday morning, 5, 6 o'clock, I'm calling them. I know they ain't gonna pick up, but I'm calling them, sending out the call, so when they wake up, they see that I call. I've already been in the lab, but then when we get together on Sunday, conference call, whatever, meet, high school coaches, they meet on Sundays anyway. That's the most important part. That's the most wonderful part of being a coach.
Talk about it.
Rodney Hackney, Carl Sled, Max Wilton, Derek Avery, whatever. On Sundays, we would have coaches meeting.
Yep.
We have Sunday dinner. Everybody be responsible. Each week bring Sunday dinner. That's the time we would prepare for the game on Friday in high school, right?
Yes, sir.
And we came together and all that was wonderful. But in terms of the process of winning, if that's not the most important part to you, if that's not the most fun part to you of whatever you're doing in life, if the preparation is not the most fun part,
teach, Oak.
Then you need to get out that profession.
Teach. Picking that up. Picking up what you're putting down with that.
You got to get out. See, if lesson planning, and not the traditional lesson planning of, I'm going to fill out this piece of paper, but I'm saying I'm reflecting. I might need to write some stuff down. I might need to, okay, today I'm going to teach this, or, whatever aspect of the planning.
Yes, sir.
If that's not the most fun part, get out the business.
Get out.
If preparation is not the most fun part of what you're doing, let it go. Because you can't control what happens after your preparation.
Right. Yeah.
So now you at the whim of, if you coach football, the kids come to practice, somebody may get hurt, you may lose the game at the end of the week or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But as soon as that day, the next time come around, that Sunday come back around, that's the it, man.
Yeah, man.
If that's the it, then that's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
That's a criteria I think you want to use, a gauge that you want to use for yourself. If the preparation is not the most exciting aspect of your job, let it go.
That's good there, man. Honor the process, honor the preparation, not the outcome.
Right.
The outcome constantly changes. Honor the process, honor the preparation, not the outcome. Yeah. If your work ethic, dedication, commitment, sacrifice is predicated upon the outcome, I can guarantee you.
You're going to let it go in a minute, man. You ain't going to be good at it.
You will be highly disappointed. Honor that process, man, and honor that preparation. And let's get on up out of here, Oak. Take us home, man. Take us home. I got a word.
Okay.
I got a word.
All right. Give it to me.
And now a little rapid fire. I got a word, man. Faith.
Whatever is on your heart, do it.
Mm-hmm.
What's on my heart is to bring together a group of people, whether family, friends, or not family or friends, but who have a common goal, come together and move as one.
Yes, sir.
I don't care about all the other stuff in terms of who gets the credit, who gets, who gets the money.
Mm-hmm.
If you got a common goal of getting to and accomplishing something, make sure that you move together and have the faith that our togetherness is greater than our individualness.
Yes, sir.
Right? Yeah. We're greater together than we are apart.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I always think about faith, right, in terms of unknown, unseen, uncaptured, right? But faith for me, when I think about the word, having the courage to act and move on your faith.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to want something.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to have goals, dreams, and aspirations. We're in a new year. A lot of people want new.
Talk,
right?
Man. Talk.
A lot of people want new things, want to become somebody new, want to accomplish new things. All of that is great, magnificent, brilliant, nothing wrong with that. But have the courage to act on the faith, the unseen, the unknown, the uncaptured. Because you're going to get to a space and place to where you're going to have to move on that thing. Just have the courage to move on that faith, man. It ain't an accident. Have the courage to move on it. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your support. Stay blessed, man. Peace.
Serendipity, man. Tune in.